Hi, everyone. Welcome back to What's the Dilly-o, the show where we sit down with people reinventing financial infrastructure. Today, I'm joined by my friend Arnaud, CEO of Marble, a platform tackling one of the most critical yet under-automated areas in compliance, transaction monitoring. Arnaud, welcome. Can you start by introducing yourself and what does Marble do?
Sure. Thanks a lot for inviting me, Kanishka. It's great being with you today. I'm the co-founder of Marble. I've been working in financial services for almost the last 20 years. Um, I've seen firsthand the challenges of setting up a good transaction monitoring system that we scale with the company that is both simple to use on a daily basis, super efficient, but that also follows the transformation of the company over time. And when we started Marble, that's exactly what we tried to find when we built the solution. So we built the first open source solution on the market in order to help financial institutions build not only the detection but also the investigation, make it super efficient, and hopefully helping them scale very quickly and faster than the current option that they would have.
Got it. Let's kind of build up to transaction monitoring and what Marble's doing. Tell me a little bit about your background and like what brought you to this point? Like what got you to build Marble?
Yeah. Um, I was working in financial services. Every day we had hundreds of alerts all over the place. It wasn't just checking the transactions of the people. It was also the global behavior. It was outliers that we had over time because it's hard to predict the behavior of your customers. And over time, and also at the same time, you had that type of fear or suspicion on everything that's happening on your system. To have fear if you're working in finance, fear of the worst. So
Yeah.
you start imagining things, you start finding new scenarios and so on. And we found it to be super painful. Testing new things, trying new things, seeing if it would work, if it would break the current payment scheme with the customers, and also when we wanted to add a new payment type, when we wanted to add a new country, those are new risks, those are new behavior, and every time it was a huge project. Uh, I mean, you think that especially in fintech, velocity is key. But if you want velocity, it means that when you're shipping something, if you're spending 50% of your time working on the compliance part, you probably are not focusing on really the right thing to make your product successful. Compliance is super important, but it's not sufficient by itself.
Got it. Fair enough. So would you say that you kind of built Marble to solve the problems that you were seeing, the ones that you were kind of facing yourself as an operator?
It's self-inflicted pain. I mean, you're working in financial services, you have the pain of fraud, you have the pain of compliance. You test a lot of things, you see what works, you see what doesn't work, and in the end, it's a tech problem. You need to find a technical solution because gone are the day where you could do a lot of things on Excel, and
Hmm.
that's good.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
That's great that it's not there anymore. But it also means that when you change something in your system, it's a tech problem. It's a tech delivery, and over time, it takes a lot and a lot of time on your roadmap. And if you want to keep the velocity, you have to find solutions in order to do that. And we faced that in the past with my co-founder. We had that in different companies. We had that in different types of projects, new payment types that we wanted to accept, new countries we wanted to open. And that's exactly what we tried to focus on when we started working on Marble, with a simple twist, which is it's not something that should only be for large companies.
Hmm.
It's also a problem fintech are facing from day one.
Hmm.
You shouldn't build your fintech thinking that compliance comes later. It never does. And you shouldn't build also your fintech thinking, okay, I'm going to do some hard coded stuff that's going to help me for some time because it never does either.
Hmm. absolutely. I think I've been watching Marvel since I think pretty much since it was born. I reached out to you I think sometime last year when you guys had just kind of raised seed. And one of the reasons that I thought Marble was so interesting and frankly a pretty saturated market of decision rules is you guys take the approach of open source. And I think that that's not talked about enough. I'd love to understand the ethos behind that. Like, why open source? Why kind of um, build this very different model for decision rules?
Yeah. Uh, it's something that drove us from the beginning, or almost from the beginning. Financial institutions have huge data challenges. When you have huge data challenges, it means that depending on the geography you're in, there's a strong drive towards on-premise, especially when you're growing. So, what's the best way to build a solution that you can deploy on-premise without having to have thousands of environments that you can test, that you need to test before deploying? You make it open source. That's the best way for people to test it all over the world and to contribute to it. That was the first reason. Second reason is just what I said before, you need to start thinking about compliance from day one. And when you start building your fintech, the first thing you want to do is probably not shedding a huge check to a third party solution. So having an open source solution on the market is a strong driver toward making fintech and financial institutions safer from day one because they can start building on something that is actually free. And when they want to access more advanced feature or they have more complex needs, then the upgrade is super easy. And the last thing is, well, there's a lot of bullshit on the market. Everyone's saying that they can do everything. So let's build in public. And the
Yeah,
best way to build in public is to show you code.
yeah, fair enough. So it's a proof of the pudding kind of strategy of saying, look, I'm not only going to tell you that I can do this, I'll show you the code, the core code, and if you want to adjust it to your specific need, do
It's
whatever
even
you
more than
need.
that.
Yeah,
You don't need to call me to test Marble or to have a demo. You
yeah,
just download it, you install it on your laptop, and you can test it. It takes 5 minutes, and you don't need me.
yeah. I think as a buyer, that's super compelling because one of the most annoying kind of motions you have to make as an operator is to speak to the salespeople and try to figure out what it'll take for them to show you the product because they spend so much time doing discovery. And I think Marble makes it super simple. You can just kind of jump onto the website. I can sign up right now. I think I have signed up in the past and just played around with it. And I think that makes life a lot easier.
Exactly. And we're in a business where you can't do everything. You can't be perfect on every need that's asked by fintechs and financial institutions because there's so many use cases. The market is so wide. There's so
Hmm.
many specific integration with core banking systems and so on. So the
Yep.
best way to allow everyone to find what they want is to give them access to the lower level of the system. And
Hmm.
open source is a great way for the tech team within the company if they want to build something that's super custom for them. They have best in class platform where they have all the nice stuff on the detection, on the investigation, but on the deep integration with the system, it's open door and they can do whatever they want.
Fair enough. Okay. I think that kind of sets the table around what Marble is all about. But I brought you on today to talk about transaction monitoring, and I saw you've been doing some posts about transaction monitoring in the lens of AI, right? So AI agents are all the rage right now, and they've already kind of started saturating the market, right? So many special agents have come, and everyone's saying that we're doing our agent for compliance, for financial document OCR, for whatever use case. But transaction monitoring has stayed relatively isolated. Why is it such a hard nut to crack? Like, what makes transaction monitoring that much more complex that only very few players are kind of
Yeah,
attacking?
it's a very different approach comparing KYC and transaction monitoring. KYC, it's a series of checks that you want to do, and in the end, you have a checklist. The checklist needs to be done, and Fair enough.
Yeah.
Transaction monitoring is a messy business. You're looking for something that you don't know, that you want to discover.
Yeah.
And you're looking at significantly big amount of data. If you're looking, for example, at a merchant transaction, you could have thousands of lines in a couple of days.
Hmm. Hmm.
So it's something it's messy to manage. It's a data problem,
Hmm.
and it's something that has a lot of different approach and application. It's not a checklist in the end. It's what's the worst they can do with those transactions? Would they be funding terrorism? Would they be money laundering some of their income? Or are they hiding something? So it's really something that is more complex to approach in order to have something that is significantly more efficient than a human eye. And that's the challenge with transaction monitoring. It's the complexity of the business. And the second thing is that it's it's a real time business.
Hmm.
So you need something that is fit for being fast enough in order to answer the challenges of real time management.
Hmm.
It's not going to work all the time because if you're looking at sub-second, even millisecond decisions, I mean, AI is not ready for that in a lot of cases. But you need to find the right level in order to manage that. And that's one of the big challenges with transaction monitoring.
Got it. I mean, totally get it, right? The KYC side is just binary checks, yes, no. It's like ultimately the output of KYC is do you let them onto the platform or not? But once they're on, then it's all about pattern recognition and much more kind of complex data management. My question to you is, till date, this is done by machine learning models. You have data scientists who are running all this. Where's the value add of the LLM in this? Like, how is AI kind of making this easier or better?
Machine learning is super useful for providing the decision. So providing the alert, saying,
Hmm.
okay, there's an outlier compared to what you have.
Hmm.
And by the way, there's a lot of things you can do with rules. In some cases, machine learning is better. In some cases, rules
Hmm.
are better, depending on
Yeah.
the business you're in and the approach you have.
Hmm.
But after that, the big challenge is that most of your cost is on the investigation. 20% of the cost on the detection, 80% of the cost on the human cost behind that, the person that is actually looking at the alert. And
Yeah.
that's where you can really do something with AI. Why? Because AI can take the context, can try to understand it, can have a process of finding whether there's something fishy, asking additional questions, gather additional information, but make sense of something that's missing in order to provide, in some cases, just a recommendation. But in a lot of cases, I mean, AI is already fully capable of flagging false positive and closing them by themselves. And that's really changing something because in the market, the pain everyone's talking about related to false positive is mostly linked to the cost of those false
Hmm.
positive, the teams that you have to put in order to manage those. So if you're able to solve that, if you're able to have something that is so streamlined that only the key alerts that make no sense whatsoever to the AI are sent to human, then you're completely removing the false positive factor, no matter
Got
the
it.
type of detection you have above.
Got it. My follow-up to that is, where do you think the place of AI is, or where is AI best suited today? In what medium is it? Speaking specifically to transaction monitoring, is it more as a co-pilot where it's giving recommendations, or is it ready for autonomy and kind of closing the stuff up? I know it can do it, but should it be allowed to do what
It's
what it can do?
it's almost ready for autonomy.
Okay.
The challenge behind that is that when the business when you shouldn't trust anyone. So it
Hmm.
means if you want to give autonomy to the AI agent, you need to test it. You need to check the level of results that you're getting in your specific use case because there's a lot of different use cases for financial institutions. And when you're comfortable enough for that, then you can let the AI be autonomous. and potentially recheck over time the result. But in terms of process, in terms of capabilities, from what we've seen, from what we've built, they're more consistent than human right now. They see way more things. That's actually a huge game changer. They see patterns that if you're putting a senior analyst in front of the transaction, they would not see. And they make sense of things that are complex to understand, and they put that in the context of the customer, the company, the country they're in very efficiently. So in the end, if you look at what's really ticking in the business, meaning error rates, error made by analysts, if you're generating 1,000 alerts managed by an AI and do the same thing with humans, you're going to have a better result with the AI right now because it's just more consistent at seeing things.
Got it. As someone who is constantly talking to financial institutions and selling this software, how do you build that trust? Because risk people are inherently distrusting of everything, and they want to be in the weeds of all the decisions that they're making. It was tough enough to transition from just in-hand analyst work to doing rules engines to machine learning models, and now you're kind of saying, okay, you're pushing them forward much faster than what I would imagine their comfort levels are. So how do you kind of build that trust?
It's a huge change management for everyone in the industry. No one's ready for that yet. In most geographies, you don't even have the right to auto-close alerts without having a human look at it. So anyway, regulation is slowing things down. It's going to change over time, but it's still slowing things down, and it should be. And trust is gained by eyes review mostly. I mean, we're not removing the humans from the process. We're enhancing them. They are coming to an alert. Everything's ready. They have the ability to review it, to see the proof, to see the detail of the thinking behind the alert and behind the AI. And then they can say, okay, I'm comfortable with that, or I'm not comfortable with that. And in the end, at the end of the month, you're going to be able to compare what's the percentage of alerts the human was comfortable with but well managed by the AI compared to the ones that were fully managed by humans. And over time, that's going to change minds. Obviously, if you're managing 2 alerts every day, it's not going to change much. I mean, but the problem in the industry is the volume right now. It's how do you manage so many alerts in a short time without making mistakes? And that's where you can really make a difference.
At what scale do you think it makes most sense to introduce agents? Because obviously at two alerts a day, it's too little. Where is that threshold where you say, okay, it makes sense to now, inject a new tool system into place?
That's a complex question. An analyst, if he's really good, is going to spend maybe 10 to 15 minutes per alert. If he's not just scrolling over and saying yes, no, yes, no, yes, no. 10 to 15 minutes per alert is something that an analyst is able to do just to sort out false positives. So it means that over a day, an analyst can manage between 50 to 80 alerts. So, but that's without the investigation. That's just reviewing first level without any question, investigation, or anything. So anything above 20, 30 alerts per day, you're already changing things a lot. But the reality is that the question you should ask is, what is my compliance officer doing when he's not checking alerts? And it can actually contribute a lot more to the company. It can contribute to building better rules. It can contribute to better checks. It can contribute to better level 2 reviews. And that's the balance that's important. I mean, humans are expensive. And you should have humans working on something that's worth it for everyone. Sorting level 1 alert is probably not the place you want to put your resources. But if you can move a significant part of the workforce that you have right now, even if it's just one person, to other topics, it means that the company is moving faster, has better checks, has better compliance, everyone's winning.
So you'd say that the opportunity cost is not just dollars, but also strategic.
Yeah, it's strategic. It's making the best of the resources that you have.
Awesome. Um, okay, let's take a concrete example because I think we talk about stuff in a very ephemeral way. Can you speak to a success story of implementing AI agents in your current kind of customer base, like a specific case where it has made a material difference?
Yeah, we're at a stage. So it's still the early days, but we're at the stage right now where a compliance officer, especially with one of our customers that has been using the AI agent for a couple of months now,
Hmm.
have been able to handle 4 or 5 more alerts than
Hmm.
any other senior analyst in a similar business.
Hmm.
And when we look at the second level reviews, when we look at the audit trail that that it leaves behind, there's more detail. It's more informed decision. It's actually more checks that are done compared to a traditional review. So not only the reviews are more complete, but also the result in terms of velocity are way higher. It's not missing
Hmm.
anything. Right?
Yeah.
Actually, it's catching more things
Yeah.
than it should have in this business, and at the
Hmm.
same time, is way more efficient than any other senior compliance officer we've seen in a similar line of work. It's just a question of shifting his focus on what's really important. There's a lot
Hmm.
of people that are super efficient in this business,
Hmm.
but they are stretching their time over a lot of different signals. In that case, is focusing solely only on the cases that are standing up and that make no sense whatsoever or are triggering very high alert signals after the decision when the AI is not able to make sense of anything. And the AI is actually able to go as far as asking additional questions, getting additional document into the review, and in the end, where what's an RFI, but just asking a question to the end user.
Hmm.
Very shortly, we're gonna be there. So it means that level 2 reviews will be able to be handled mostly by AI too.
Got it. Do you do you think that, and this just comes to mind now, do you think that by AI being able to catch more and ask more questions, we're at the it's possible we might be adding more friction into the process than before because now it's asking too many questions.
That's a good product question. No, it's always been the question of balance.
Yeah.
It's I think it was the same thing when we started having online onboarding.
Hmm.
Everyone was adding new checks, new video, new stuff like that. Same thing with transaction monitoring. You have to set the threshold between what you want to actually block and what you
Hmm.
can review afterwards. That's the first thing. And the second thing is when you're reviewing things afterwards, once the alert is there, you have no other choice than to ask questions. So if you need to ask questions, the thing is how do you integrate that very finely into your product? Because a question can just be a checkbox for the
Hmm.
end user,
Yeah.
or it can be a document to upload, which is a lot more painful. So finding the right way and finding the right friction will always be the key.
Right.
The only thing that's really changing is that in a lot of cases, we see that you don't need to ask questions to the end user. A lot of time, the answer is already available somewhere online. And
Hmm.
that's what's really changing because you don't have the time when you have a human agent to have him make 20 Google search on the profile of the customer
Hmm.
and past activities and so on. That's something that's instant right now. You don't need to
Yeah.
do that. So it means that you have all that additional context that comes into the review
Yeah.
And in a lot of cases, you don't need to ask questions. It just makes sense.
Yeah. I think that that's a great way to look at it. It's like you're already building context about all these companies, about these people. So it's not about asking like this laundry list of questions. It's about asking the right questions or the ones that are customized to their specific situation.
It's
And I
like
think,
everyone hates when a bank is asking you something that they should already know.
yeah,
There's no excuse anymore.
yeah, yeah, absolutely. And I think it's interesting. I think we're going back towards relationship banking where the banker knew everything about your business. It was a community kind of experience. And now it's just that it's AI and it just knows everything because
Yeah,
that's what AI does. Yeah.
your banker has at least 1,000 customer under management, so he has no idea what you're doing.
Yeah.
DAI has no problem managing that. I mean,
Yeah.
even if they have 10,000 customers under management, they know what they did. They can see the past messages. They can see everything. And
Yeah.
that's really helping a lot, establishing a better relationship because instead of asking over and over the same questions, even if it's different operations and different use cases, you are actually building an intelligent profile of your customer. You see
Yeah.
what he answered, even if it's 2 years ago, and you know that.
Fair enough. Okay. So to wrap us up, a couple of questions. What's a false promise that you hear about AI in compliance and transaction monitoring? Like a myth to be busted.
Um, we it's there's a long list. One of them is that it's gonna fully remove compliance officers.
Hmm.
In the end, when you think that people are likely to go to jail if there's a significant mistake being done, you kind of want to keep a human in the loop in the most critical cases, especially in the oversight of the system. Maybe in the end, the investigation, the human will be fully removed, or in most of the case. But the oversight, I really believe that it's going to stay human for a long time because
Hmm.
there's the question of trust that you indicated at the beginning that still needs to be addressed. And in the end, it's not the AI that goes to jail. At least not in the current regulation. it's it's the compliance officer of the company, it's the head of the company, and
Yeah,
you need to have controls in place.
fully agree. I think the buck still stops with a human being, and they're not going to let the AI kind of run wild. Fair enough.
Prediction are hard in the AI. I mean, it's moving way faster than we would have
Uh,
anticipated.
that's also true. Okay, and then my last question, which is my signature question, is what's the dealio with Marvel in 2025? What are you building? What are you excited about?
We're super excited about removing most of the human work from the investigation.
Hmm.
The promise of having a fully autonomous investigation from first level of alert to exchange with the end customer, escalation, and providing automatically a SAR report is
Hmm.
it's a true promise for companies to be able to scale at a way faster rate than right now without having the human burden of having to hire analysts at the same pace of the growth of their payments. I really think that's a strong shift in the industry. I mean,
Hmm.
compliance is moving again from a cost to a tech problem.
Hmm.
It's a good thing. I think everyone should be happy about that.
Yeah, fully agree. Awesome. Arnaud, thank you so much for coming on today. This was great, and for everyone who's listening, you know where to go check out the next cutting edge of AI agents. That's checkmarble.com. Thank you so much. I appreciate your time.
My pleasure.